Our trip for today is changing our car's spark plug. Join us in this video and learn how to do it yourself. Open the hood. In my case, I have an upper stabilizer bar installed, which blocks access to the bolt at the rear of the air filter assembly. If you also have it, you need to remove the stabilizer bar because we will be removing the air filter assembly. Next, unscrew the bolts of the air filter assembly. There are three. One is fastening the resonator, and two are on the main assembly. I prefer to remove the resonator first, but it is also okay to remove it along with the air filter assembly. Loosen the intake manifold hose, and detach it to the filter assembly. I have a separate video on how to replace air filters. Be sure to check it out. The second bolt is at the side. The third bolt is behind the assembly. The sizes of the bolt heads are 10 mm. Wiggle the air filter assembly while pulling up to remove it. These is where the bolts goes to. While this rubbery hole is what keeps the assembly steady. We don't want anything like dust and insects going into the manifold. It is best practice to cover it a cloth. The same thing with the spark plug access points. We do not want dust to enter into the cylinder head and mix with oil, or into the cylinders and scratch the cylinder walls. That's why it is best practice to remove the dust in the surrounding areas before removing the ignition coils. I am using a soft brush to agitate the dust. Then, you can use either a vacuum cleaner the wire connectors or air blower to ignition coils. Suck gently or blow the bolts that hold the ignition coils. Rotate the ignition coils so you can reach for the remaining dust. It is also good to have extra illumination over your workspace. Pull the ignition coils. Using a spark plug socket, unscrew the spark plug carefully. The direction is counterclockwise. This spark plug is actually still good. The color is rusty brown, which indicates good fuel to air mixture. It is possible to reuse this by just cleaning using wire brush. But it is already 2 years now, and 30,000 kilometers, so I am replacing it. This is a platinum tip plug, which is better than iridium when it comes to generating spark, but have shorter lifespan. You can compare the new spark plugs that you bought to the old one to check if they are of the same type, length, and thread. If you will be reusing your plug, clean the tip and threads thoroughly with wire brush. Inspect the ceramic insulator and make sure there are no cracks. And check that the gap is within specification. Cover the spark plug access hole with a cloth to prevent dust and other objects from entering it. Remove the other spark plugs carefully. Perform the spark plug gap check, whether reusing an old or using a new spark plug. The standard value is between 1 to 1.1 mm. Use a filler gauge to check the gap. Here, I am combining 0.508 and 0.483 to come up with 0.991, which is close to 1 mm. Or 0.533 plus 0.559 to come up with 1.92, which is close to 1.1 mm. The filler gauge should slide through the gap between the tip and the ground electrode. If it is too narrow, bend the ground electrode away from the tip very carefully until the gap is correct. If too wide, then bend the ground electrode towards the tip until the gap is correct. Do a final inspection of the plugs before inserting it. If you have a torque wrench, torque the spark plug to 25 Newton meters. If none, then tighten the plug for 1/2 up to 2/3 of a turn from its seated position. Screw in the plug using your hands very carefully. You want to avoid damaging the thread of the aluminum engine. Once it stops turning, stop. That is the seated position. Do not over-tighten. Then, turn it clockwise for 1/2 to 2/3 of a turn. Clean the dust off the ignition coil. Then gently insert it. Do the same for the remaining cylinders. Screw in the bolts that retains the ignition coils. Never over-tighten because the head cover is made only of hard plastic. This is the good time to remove the dust from the resonator and air filter assembly, before placing it back on the engine. Insert this protrusion into the rubber hole. Make sure you remove the cloth in the intake manifold hose before attaching it back to the air filter assembly. Screw the bolts now. Attach the resonator and screw it using the bolt. Tighten the bolt of the manifold hose. I'd like to start the engine and inspect for unusual noise or errors before placing back the stabilizer bar. One click start, and no check engine sign. No hesitation as well. I don't hear any unusual noise or sound. No smell or sign of smoke. We are good to put back the stabilizer bar. Make sure that there are no tools left on your engine bay. Lastly, we need to make a test drive to check and feel if there are unusual engine behavior. That's it. We now know how to inspect and replace a car's spark plug. Thank you for watching.